بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Surah Al-Humazah is a short chapter again, and it has one paragraph. It's talking about again, like the other chapter that we had right now, Surah Al-Takasur. Similar to that, it's about the societies and a sickness in among people in a society, and the way that people actually have their relationship in the society, and it's warning us about bad habits and bad attitudes. Let's keep reading. Then, when we are reading at the end of it, I will explain the reason similar to the other chapter and the steps of healing this illness and the target that was the most important part of this chapter. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويل لكل همزة لمزة. Woe to every backbeater and rebuker. Homaze and lomaze are actually two words which are very similar and very similar concept. Some interpretation says that one of them is talking behind someone and the other one is rebuking and making fun of people or blaming them in front of them. So, but the others say in a switch way. So we don't want to be in this fight. The important point is these are two bad habits that talking behind people and blaming them and rebuking them even in front of them. So backbeater and rebuter. And it says, woe to everyone who do this. Woe as a translation for veil. Veil is the name of a part of hell, which is known as having a very bad smell. And this is one of those lowest level of the hell. And only in some specific verse in Quran, God said veil to someone. When it says veil to someone, it doesn't mean only woe to someone. It actually means I wish your place be veil, and it says that your place is gonna be veil, which means that part, that specific part of hell, which is a really bad part of hell, that is gonna be your place, that is gonna be your situation on the other life. And this is only in some specific verse. And this word is used only for very bad attitude, very bad habits. For example, wailun lil mutaffifin. So here, when God used wail, it means that this is a very, very bad habit, and God is very sad with this kind of illness which is among people. And it's telling us that those people who are doing this, they're gonna be in the really bad situation in the hell fire. So who are these kind of people, and what is the reason that they are doing this bad attitude? It says الذي جمع مالا وعدده, who collects wealth and continuously counts it. They are like worldly people, and they keep collecting wealth and they keep counting it. So there is a question, is it bad, like having money and collecting wealth? Is it a bad thing in Islam? No, not at all. It's not bad. Even those people who are very wealthy, like having companies, like they are traders, and they may even have several people to only check their accounts and this stuff as an account manager, and these kind of this kind of a wealth and collecting wealth is not bad at all in Islam. The point is, what is our ideology about that collecting wealth? What is the reason that that person is collecting wealth, and what is the understanding about that wealth for this person? It says, next verse, يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَ. He believes that his wealth will make him immortal. The point is that kind of a collecting wealth that is gonna give me this feeling that I am immortal, that is a bad ideology. And when I collect wealth and keep counting it, if I feel that this money is gonna support me against that and I'm not gonna die and I am immortal, that is actually the dangerous part of being wealthy. But in the absolute meaning, like collecting wealth is not bad. It's not known as a bad thing in Islam. But actually, when it brings me this kind of ideology, then that is dangerous. Actually, the first time that I read this kind of interpretation for this verse, I was surprised. But then our professor referred us to Surah Al-Kahf. I don't remember the verses. I can send it for you in the group, those verses. It's a dialogue, it's a conversation between two men. They had two gardens. One of them had a beautiful garden, very big and much better than the other one. And that wealthy man start talking to this one and blaming him and telling him that you are nothing, like your garden is nothing compared to mine. My garden is such a wonderful garden, and having this kind of a garden, it means that God likes me and He blessed me, and I believe that I'm not gonna die. And this is a very weird point, and in Quran, it's obviously telling us that that man said that I believe that I'm not gonna die. Even if I died, I'm gonna have a much better garden on the other life because God gave me this kind of a blessing in this life, and it means He likes me. And even if I died on the other life, I'm gonna have a better garden. So, this kind of ideology that people have when they are wealthy or God blessed them with other things, that they believe that they are chosen by God and they believe that they are a specific group of people and God is gonna bless them always in this life and the other life, it's a very dangerous ideology. And these kind of a people, because they believe they are in a higher level, because they believe they are better than the others, because they believe they are chosen by God and God blessed them, they start blaming others and making fun of them, talking behind them, rebuking them, and this stuff. And this is the point that God start talking to about it and saying while to them, woe to them, while, because this is a very dangerous ideology. They believe they are immortal. They believe they are chosen by God. They believe that all of this wealthy that they had it's because they are a specific person and God blessed them, and they believe the other people they are nothing. Poor people, they are nothing. It means God didn't like them. That's why God didn't bless them with money and the other things. And then they start talking in a bad way to them and start humiliating them and rebuking them and blaming them. So, what is gonna God tell us about this kind of attitude? It's in verse 4 and it says, كَلَّا لَيُنبَذَنَّ فِي الْحُطَمَةِ. Definitely not. He will surely be thrown into the crushing fire. Definitely not. Kalla, again, similar to the other verse that we had. Kalla is for rejecting a bad attitude or a bad ideology, which is before that. And it's saying, Kalla, definitely not. It's not acceptable. This is a wrong ideology. You're not going to be immortal. If I gave you a blessing in this life, if you are wealthy in this life, it doesn't mean that you are specific people. It doesn't mean you are chosen people. This is not acceptable. And those people who have this kind of ideology, they will be surely they will surely be thrown into the crushing fire. Why crushing fire? Hotama. Hotama means crushing fire. So we were waiting to hear burning fire. But it says crushing fire with Well, actually, hams and lambs, homazeh, lomazeh, which means backbeater and rebuker, talking behind people, blaming them and humiliating them. This kind of attitude, it's kind of a crushing their character and it's kind of a humiliating them, crushing them. And if you experience when we are on that situation, when someone is humiliating us, like even the way that we talk, even the way that we like the economic level or whatever, when people are attacking us, we feel that we are crushed, and it's like a kind of a crushing a character. Because they did that in a similar way, they're gonna be punished on the other life. As I explained it before, I think I did, that all of those punishments on the other life in the hell, they are not actually something separate from whatever that we did. Whatever that we are going to do here in this life, they all have a nature on the other life. And the nature of this kind of attitude, backbeater and rebuker, this the nature of them is going to be a crushing fire on the other life. And this punishment is not something that God choose it randomly and like just only choosing a word here. Hotama. Hotama is a nice word. Okay, put it in this verse. No, it's not like that. And God didn't choose this, and God didn't just put it here in random way, like this is a nice word and stuff like that. This is actually related to whatever that they did. They crushed their character, they humiliated them, and they're gonna be crushed on the other life in a crushing fire. And then next verse, it says, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْحُطَمَةُ? And what can make you know what the crushing fire is? It means that this is a huge fire and you cannot imagine it. If the other fires is gonna burn, this gonna be crushing. And this is not imaginable and you cannot have an understanding of it until I explain it for you. So what is that? God start explaining it from verse 6. It says, Narullah al-Muqada. It is the fire of God kindled, which means this is a huge fire that God described it by himself. Narullah means a huge fire, which is kindled by God. And God is the one who kindled this, and this is a huge fire, and it's not actually imaginable. It says at the next verse, keep explaining it, and it says, التي تطلع على الأفئدة. This is another description for this hotama. What is hotama? Hotama is that fire which penetrates the heart. أفئدة is actually those deep layers of heart, which says even it's difficult for us to have access to it. You know, sometimes we say something or we have a feeling and we don't know what is the reason of it. This is in fu'ad, afida or fu'ad. This is actually on those deep layers of the heart that it's not even sometimes accessible for this for that person. Even we cannot go deep to those levels of the heart. And it says that God only knows what is on those deep layers of our heart. And it says this kind of a fire are penetrating the heart. Why? Because the way that they actually the way that they talk to those people and humiliated them or talking behind them, the way that they did this, it was actually burning their heart. It was humiliating them and it was actually penetrating in their heart. The same way the nard or the fire that they're going to have on the other life, it is a nar which penetrates the heart. إنها عليهم مؤصدة. Indeed, it will be closed upon them. This hellfire, it's something closed upon them from everywhere. Like if you put both of your hands together and press them, there is still a small space, a little just air in between those two hands. But if you press it firmly, then there is nothing in between. It's completely compressed and there is no air between them. Mu'sada is like that. Mu'sada means being closed upon them from every direction. And this is again similar to the way that they treated those people, like they were like humiliating them. And if you experience that kind of a situation, when we are attacked and people are blaming us or like humiliating us, we believe that there are all of those closed door around us, and there is no way for me to actually run away from this situation. And it's such a bad feeling. They are actually humiliating that character and putting it in a very difficult situation, like everything is closed upon that person. In the same way, they are going to be punished in a hellfire that is closed upon them from every side, and it's a actually similar punishment to whatever that they did. في أمد ممددة. And this situation being closed upon, being in a closed fire, that closed fire is in extended columns, and they are in that extended column. Like these fires is like the extended column. This one is again similar to the way that they were collecting money and putting those money one on the upon another one, and keep counting them. See, it seems that this kind of a describing hell, it's very rare in Quran, and it's actually uh, it seems that it was very important for God to be careful about the way that we are talking to people, the way that we are judging them, talking about the way that they do talk, the way that they have their clothes, their outfits, and their economic situation, everything. When people are talking behind each other, which unfortunately this is a very bad sickness and it's still among all societies, this is very, very bad known for God, and God hated this and rejected this by saying veil to them, being in the on that bad part of the hell. And then it's described a hotama as a specific crushing fire, and then keep describing it in verses 6 to 9 to tell us that I am very upset with this kind of a sickness. And that sickness, it wasn't only for 400 years ago, and it's still among us, and we still need these verses to be reminded that having wealth and being wealthy is not bad, but if those wealth brings us this kind of ideology that I am going to be immortal, this is very dangerous. And people in that situation start blaming the others, started talking behind them and rebuking them and this stuff. And then they're gonna have a very similar punishment, similar to whatever that they did on the other life, they're gonna be punished with that. And the important point that God wants to emphasize on it and make us aware about it was a warning about backbiter and rebuker resulting from worldly ideology. They believe that everything that they have in this life is because they are good people and God blessed them because they are chosen people. And even if they die on the other life, they're gonna have a better life. So let me stop recording here. Then if you have question, you can